Watching your favorite game every 3 to 4 days must sound like a dream come true, right? If my team is winning, I want them out there every other day, honestly. But here's the reality check. Football is dying, guys. We're literally going backwards. Listen to this. Here's my starting 11 in a fantasy game. The Ballon d'Or winner, Rodri, Militao, Icardi, Danny Carvajal, La Masia wonder kid, Marc Bernal, Ilias Akomash, Joan Martinez, Cesar Palacios, Enric Franqueza, Thierry Correa, Hamari Traore. And the list goes on. But guess what? They're all out with ACL injuries. And that's just the start. The rest? Not even mentioned yet. And now let's throw in another tournament for fun, huh? FIFA and UEFA. Because why not add more pressure to these guys? Before we kick off, make sure to subscribe to Goat Blender for the best in football stories, epic highlights, and the debates every fan loves. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and let's hear what you think. Alright, picture this for a second. Bayern Munich not winning the Bundesliga. Manchester United fighting relegation. And instead, we're seeing teams like Union Berlin, Girona, Aston Villa, and Brighton sneaking into the Champions League spots. Sounds insane, right? But that's actually happening. The Giants are falling, and it's only getting crazier from here. So what's going on? And what could this mean for football in the future? Let's dive into it. Football's always been about the big dogs, the teams that have been at the top forever. But lately, everything's flipped upside down. Take Napoli, for example. Just a couple of seasons ago, they snatched their first Serie A title in 33 years, knocking Juventus and Milan off their pedestals. Huge upset, right? That's the kind of thing that makes you think. Maybe, just maybe, the old guard is starting to slip. And over in Germany, Bayer Leverkusen went full beast mode, grabbing both the Bundesliga and the DFB Pokal in the same season. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich, they didn't even win a single thing. Bayern Munich, the team that ruled the Bundesliga for 10 years straight. That's a major shakeup, man. And we're not just talking about one or two surprises. Liverpool had their worst league season since like 2012. Chelsea? Their worst since 1991. And Manchester United? At one point, they were sitting in 14th place in the Premier League. Yeah, 14th. These are the teams we expect to be fighting for trophies, not scrambling to stay out of the bottom half. But while the big names are tripping up, the smaller clubs are rising up. Brighton, Girona, VfB Stuttgart, Union Berlin, all these teams were barely scraping by just a few seasons ago, and they're now fighting in the Champions League. And they're not just there for the ride, they're challenging the big boys. In Spain, Real Sociedad and Real Betis are seriously gunning for Champions League spots. These aren't teams that you usually expect to see mixing it up with Real Madrid and Barcelona, but here they are. Then there's Girona. This story is crazy, man. Just 24 years ago, they were in the 5th tier of Spanish football, fighting for survival. Fast forward to today, and they're sitting 3rd in La Liga, just behind the Giants. And here's the kicker. Real Madrid's squad costs 14 times more than Girona's. But somehow, Girona's been punching way above their weight, and they even went to the Camp Nou and beat Barcelona. You heard that right. They beat Barcelona in their own home. And they finished above Atletico Madrid too. What is going on? So what's the deal? Why are these smaller teams doing so well? And why are the big clubs struggling? A huge part of it is fixture congestion. The football calendar has never been busier. Between league games, European competitions, international matches, and cup games, these top clubs are playing more games than ever before. And when you're one of the big clubs, you're expected to compete in every competition. That means your star players are constantly on the field, which leads to injuries, fatigue, and burnout. Look at all the key players who've been sidelined this season. Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri, Carvajal, guys who are absolute game changers. And when your stars aren't on the pitch, it just struggles to keep up. And it's not just a couple of players, it's happening across the board. The big clubs can't keep their best players fit because they're being pulled in all directions. Even Barcelona's having to throw young kids from La Masia into the mix because they've got so many injuries. So here's the thing. Top teams are being asked to do way too much right now. Not just league matches, but domestic cups, Champions League, and let's not forget international duty. It's all packed into one crazy season, and that's taking its toll. Look at Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Manchester United. Real Madrid might have what seems like the best squad out there, but how often do they lose key players for months? Same goes for Liverpool. A few years ago, they were untouchable, but last season they hit rock bottom, not because they suddenly became a bad team, but because their squad was stretched way too thin. And United, they can't even seem to find a rhythm, all thanks to injuries piling up on their best players. It's not just bad luck, it's the insane demands of modern football. Now, when your star players aren't available, that's when the door opens for the underdogs to make some noise. Bayern Munich's injury crisis? That definitely played a part in their collapse last season. Same with Liverpool's defensive mess. It basically ended their season. Even Manchester City, as solid as they are, has had to deal with injuries. It's only a matter of time before that schedule catches up with them too. But here's the thing, the smaller clubs, they've got an advantage. They're not playing as many games, and they don't have the pressure to win every single competition. This lets them rotate players, keep their squad fresh, and focus on important matches. While the big clubs are grinding through a never-ending cycle of fixtures, the underdogs get to concentrate on their league or one specific tournament, and it's paying off big time. Rodri even came out and said that players are close to striking because of how insane the schedule is, and he's not the only one. Real Madrid's Dani Carvajal and Thibaut Courtois have spoken out about it too. The constant demands are pushing these players to the edge. Oh, and don't forget next summer's Club World Cup in the US, which goes on until mid-July. But the Premier League won't delay the start of the 2025-26 season, meaning these players will just have 4 weeks to rest before jumping into a brand new campaign. With more games being added to every competition, it's no wonder injuries and fatigue are hitting harder than ever. But fixture congestion is just one part of the problem. There's also the fact that the smaller clubs are getting smarter with their recruitment. Clubs like Brighton, Napoli, and Real Betis are finding hidden gems, players that the big clubs overlook or simply don't take a chance on, and turning them into stars. Brighton, for example, has got this incredible scouting system that's all about finding lesser-known talents and making them top-tier players. It's not about spending the most money, it's about spending it wisely. So here's the big question. Is this the start of a new era in football? Are we seeing a shift where the traditional giants no longer hold all the power? If the fixture chaos keeps going and the top clubs don't figure out a better way to manage it, then yeah, we're going to see even more surprises. The big clubs are under constant pressure to win everything, and that's putting an enormous strain on their players. We'll keep seeing injuries, burnouts, and underperformance. Who knows, maybe in the next few years, we'll see an underdog team like Brighton or Real Sociedad make a serious Champions League run. Maybe a club like Everton could compete for the Premier League again. And if the big clubs don't start rethinking how they manage these insane schedules, they might just find themselves left behind. Who doesn't love an underdog story though, right? What do you guys think? Should the players go on strike to demand a better schedule? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and ring the bell so you never miss out on the latest football stories. Catch you in the next one.